Hey, so it's about 10:15, and I'm wild camping out here in a little forest next to someone's paddock. So in the background here, you can see a couple of horses which came over and said hey while I was said hey while I was having dinner, which was really nice. So I've just pitched here. I was getting pretty tired around 6 o'clock. I didn't really want to go much further. I didn't really want to pay for a campsite again after last night, so I was pretty set on wild camping tonight. And so I found this little spot here in the forest. I'll show you what the setup's like. I think it might be part of someone's property, but if it is, it's a pretty big property, and I don't think they're gonna come and find me, so it should be okay as long as I'm out of here like reasonably early tomorrow. So here's all my crap everywhere, and there's the tent in this little forest, which is pretty cool. Camping in a Swedish forest, haven't done that before. So today's been pretty awesome actually. The sun was just beaming all day. Just perfect, and like really nice green grass everywhere and little picturesque little Swedish villages. I went through a number of small villages on the coast with old Scandinavian timber boats and canoes, and then some really nice yachts as well. And people just wandering around, doing their daily things, like walking around in the sun and taking their dogs for walks and stuff like that. It was just really pleasant. The riding itself today wasn't particularly exciting, but it was just really pleasant. Except for the end of the day, the last couple of hours was mainly riding on the highway, which wasn't really great, to be honest. At some point I felt like there was a car going past me every almost 5 seconds, so I was pretty keen to get off the road at that point. But yeah, pretty good overall. Not too many interesting interactions today. I just kind of made a beeline for it. Because the sun was shining, it was just feeling good. But I did stop for a chat when I got an ice cream in the afternoon, and the owner was a Swedish guy, spoke a bit of English, and we were talking about there was a festival happening in the town, which was called Fjällbacka, I think, which I thought sounded a bit like a Swedish Chewbacca, but I don't think there's any relation. But we were chatting for quite a while, and then he turned around and it turns out he only had one arm. So that was interesting. So sometimes the people you meet in real life are more interesting than the characters they come up in movies. But yeah, I was thinking a lot today, because the last week and a bit of my trip, pretty much every time I've met someone, and I've told them, I'm riding to Turkey, the next question is inevitably, you're like, why Turkey? Why are you going to Turkey? And I've just been thinking about this question quite a bit today. I guess that's a really good thing about these bike rides, is you have heaps of time to think, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. But first of all, I don't really like that question, because I don't think we need to have a reason to do a trip like this. I think we can do a trip like this whenever we want. We don't have to have a specific reason to want to go somewhere other than we haven't been there before and it's exciting and it's new, and it's good to be curious about the world and go and see different things. And I think for me that's reason enough, to be honest, to go somewhere. There's a big bunny rabbit over here. Not sure if you can see that. So I kind of I kind of object to that question in general, to be honest. But on the other hand, I do have a list of objectives. So, and this is not specifically relating to Turkey, but the first objective of the trip, number one, is to get to Turkey. That's it. That's the objective. Objective number two is to meet up with a whole bunch of friends that I met over the last couple of years, mainly when I was traveling in Asia, but also some in Central America. A lot of them live in Europe, so I haven't seen them in a few years. So I'm really hoping to stay with some of them, or at least catch up with some of them. And I already have seen a couple in Oslo, and I hope to see some more in Copenhagen. So that's the main reason I'm heading to Copenhagen next. So the third objective, rather, is to work in a bike shop in the UK somewhere. So I have the UK working holiday visa. I have become a bit obsessed with bikes, and back in Australia, I have an engineering degree, so I kind of feel like always, back home, I always feel kind of inclined to try and find work with my degree. So when I am overseas, I guess I feel like I have a bit of license to go and work jobs which are a bit more lower responsibility, I guess, because I'm an immigrant, I suppose. And maybe that doesn't really make much sense, but I guess I just feel like I have a bit more license to to work a lower paid or lower responsibility job and do different stuff, because I'm in a new country. So working in a bike shop seems like a great opportunity whilst I'm in the UK. Do something not too serious, and something I can just leave whenever I feel like, if I want to keep traveling or go do something else or go live somewhere else. So that's number three. Number four, and so this came up today because it's a couple of weeks I've been overseas now, and interestingly, like, I started to feel like a little bit homesick today, and I started to think, why don't I just, wouldn't it be easier just to go back to Australia, and then I can be back with all my old friends, Australia's a pretty good place to live, etc., etc. All these thoughts bouncing around in my head as I'm writing, and I decided, well, I really need to have a goal, something to achieve in Europe before I go back to Australia. Otherwise, the temptation is going to be always there to just leave, I guess. So the goal that I've set for my stay in Europe or the UK is that I want to do one bikepacking race or endurance event somewhere in Europe or somewhere in the UK before I go back to Australia. So that's the objective to achieve before I leave, which I think is a pretty good one. And then number five, the fifth objective in this one is this one is to get a European or a UK girlfriend. So if there's any out there listening to this, send me a message. No, there's been so many good-looking girls here in Norway and Sweden. The stereotypes are true. It's a shame I won't be staying here that long. But yeah, there's many other good-looking girls in Europe as well, I've noticed. So yeah, those are the 5 objectives for the trip and for the next year or two to come. And yeah, I've already started planning how I'm going to do some of these things. So stay tuned.